Okay, welcome back to another Chazara Shiur on Sugיא Yud Aleph. And this time we have a special, something extra. We have an amazing, very chashuv audience. Round of applause. Very good. So, and we are giving a live Chazara Shiur. We have a live Chazara Shiur. So let's get right into it. Sugיא Yud Aleph. Before we start, let's go over some Yudis Mukdamis. There's two kinds of false oaths that someone can make. Either he gains out of it or he doesn't gain out of it. Let's go through one by one. You have a shvuas bitui, also known as bitui sfasayim. Okay. What is it? A lie that's just words. You're just lying. You're not gaining anything out of that lie. Take, for example, from our sugya. If you have a shoyl borrows an animal and it was stolen. What is the din if a shoyl has a gneva? Chayav. Very good, chayav. And then he says it was mesa kedarka. He lies. And he swears that was Mesa Kedarka. What's the din of Mesa Kedarka? Chayav. Does he gain anything out of it? No. So that is a shvuas bitui, also known as bitui sfasayim. There's another type of oath. There's another type of false oath called a shvuas sheker, also known as kfiras lamed, denying money. A false oath, denying money. A scam, basically. A lie that you steal money. You gain money out of it. Right? Take, for example, if a shoyl borrows an animal and it was stolen, what is it if it was stolen? And he says, it died because of work. What would be the name of Meisa Machmas Potter? Very good. Is he gaining out of it?
Yes.
Yes. He's gaining out of it. That is considered a shvuas sheker. He's gaining something. Now, what happens if someone makes a shvuas bitui or a shvuas sheker? He needs to bring a carbon. If he makes a shvuas bitui, he needs to bring a carbon chatas, a smaller carbon. If he makes a shvuas sheker and he's getting money out of it, then he needs to bring an asham gzela. So we read about in the Zayim L'Kaim before I do in Shachas, read asham gzelas. That's the asham that we're talking about. It's a 2-year-old man. That's what Rashi says. And Rashi explains all this. Rashi never masal common. Rashi never masal shtem. Moving on. Now let's quickly review because I believe that you know all these dinim. The din of a soicher and a shoyl. A renter and a borrower. Okay. What happened? What is the din of a soicher? Someone who rents, who has something uncontrollable. What is the din? Potter. Very good. Gneva. Stolen. Chayav. Very good. Mesa kedarka. Potter. Very good. Mesa machmas malacha. Potter. What about a shoyl? Chayav. Very good. Gneva. Chayav. Mesa kedarka. Chayav. Mesa machmas malacha. Beautiful. So it's important to have these dinim clear before we go into the sugya. If you need to review it over, pause the video, go it over, do Chazara properly. You know these dinim properly. Know what exactly a soicher is chayav on, what he's patur on. Know exactly what a shoyl is chayav on, what he's patur on. Now let's go on to our sugya. Remember our Mishnah? Let's review over our Mishnah. The Balabais rents a cow to the soicher, and then the soicher lends it to the shoyl. And then it's gone. Okay? It dies naturally, or whatever the case may be. That was the case in our Mishnah. Says Rabbi Yami, in the case of our Mishnah, פעמים, there are times, ששניהם בחטאת, that both of them, the soicher and the shoyl, will have to bring a carbon chatas. פעמים, ששניהם באשם, sometimes both of them are going to have to bring a carbon asham. פעמים, שהsoicher בחטאת, that the soicher is going to have to bring a chatas, והsoicher והshoyl באשam, and the shoyl is going to have to bring an asham. Sometimes the soicher is going to have to bring an asham. The shoyl b'chatas and the shoyl is going to have to bring a chatas. Yes, Isaac. Yes, this is Rabbi Yirmi. My mistake. Rabbi Yami is much later in the story. Thank you. Very good. Good catch. So this is Rabbi Yirmiya's opening statement. Rabbi Yirmiya opens with the din. Sometimes there could be such an extreme din, and sometimes they'll both have to bring a chatas, sometimes both asham, sometimes one a chatas, one an asham. That is the din. Now let's try to figure out, okay, Tzad, how is this? How so? How is this case? What's the case that you're going to end up with such a din? Okay, so let's go over the basic premise, the introduction to the whole din, is that the Balabayas gives a cow to the soicher, and the soicher gives it to the shoyl. And now it's gone. Okay, now, the way how we're going to get to all these 4 dinim is that one thing happened, and they lied and they said something else. Okay? And depending on what happened, and depending on what they said, that will result in what kind of carbon they bring. So, the first case, says the Rabbi Yirmiyah, sometimes they're both going to bring a chatas. How is that possible? What happened? Mesa Kedarka died naturally. And they coerced together, the Shoyal and the Seicher coerced together, they ganged up together, they said, let's lie, and let's say that what are they going to say? They said that was a minus. Now, let's go through what would have been the din. By a Seicher, what would be the din by Mesa Kedarka? Potter. What would be the din by Oynes? Potter. Did he gain anything? No. So what carbon is he chayev? Potter. Beautiful. What's the din by a shoyel by Mesa Kedarka? Chayev. What's the din by Oynes? Chayev. Did he gain anything? No. What carbon is he chayev? Potter. Very good. Next case. פעמים, ששניהם באשם. Sometimes both of them lie and they need to bring an asham. What's the case? What actually happened? It was stolen. And what did they say? They said that it was Mesa Machmas Malacha died because of work. Now, what's the din by a Seicher by Gneva? Chayev. Very good. What's the din by Seicher by Mesa Machmas Malacha? Potter. Did he gain something? Is he getting away with anything? Yes. What carbon did he bring? What's the din by a shoyel? By a gneva? If a shoyel has a gneva, what's the din? Chayev. What is it by Mesa Machmas Malacha? Potter. Did he gain any? Is he trying to gain something? Yes. What carbon doesn't he bring? Asham. Beautiful. So far. Moving on to the third case. Sometimes the seicher will bring chatas and the shell will bring asham. What's the case? What happened was Mesa Kedarka. Died naturally. What did they say happened? Mesa Machmas Malacha. Now what's the din by a seicher by Mesa Kedarka died naturally? What's the din? Potter. What's the din by Mesa Machmas Malacha? Potter. Did he gain anything? No. What carbon doesn't he bring? Beautiful. What about a shoyel? Mesa Kedarka is Chayev. Mesa Machmas Malacha is he gaining anything? Yes. Therefore his carbon is Asham. Very good. Fourth case. פעמים שהסeicher באשם, the seicher is going to have to bring the asham, והשel b'chatas, and the shel is going to have to bring the chatas. How do we work this out? What is the case? What happened? What actually happened was a gneva was stolen. And they claimed that it was Mesa Kedarka that died naturally. So now, what's the din by a seicher? What's the din by a seicher by gneva? Chayev. What's the din by a seicher of Mesa Kedarka? Potter. Is he gaining anything? Yes. So therefore his carbon is a asham. Very good. What's the din by a shel by gneva? Chayev. What's the din by Mesa Kedarka? Chayev. Is he gaining anything? No. Therefore his carbon is chatas. Raise your hand if you understood. Beautiful. Raise your hand if you're ready to be confused a little bit. Child? Okay. Why am I going to confuse you? Just in case you didn't understand this, we're going to reformat it on the board. Okay, we're going to spread it out in a different way. Again, you have the balabayas, the seicher, and the shoyel, and you have, this is cow over here in the dog. Okay? The case number one, the din is, the seicher bring the chatas and the shoyel bring the chatas. How do we figure this out? What happened was Mesa Kedarka. What they said, and since this is the second time we're doing it, I'm going to go a little bit quicker. Okay, so bear with me. Let's go a little bit quicker. What did they claim was Oynes? What's the by a seicher by Mesa Kedarka?
Posture. I knew that.
Let's do that again. What's the by seicher by Mesa Kedarka? What's the name? Potter. What's the by Oynes? Potter. Therefore, if he's not gaining anything, what's his carbon? Chatas. What is the thing by a shoyel? By Mesa Kedarka? Chayev. Oynes? Chayev. What is his carbon? Chatas. Beautiful. Second case says Rabbi Yirmiyah, Shnehem ba'asham. They're both going to have to bring up asham. What's the case? What happened was gneva. And what did they claim? They claimed Mesa Machmas Malacha. What's the din by a soicher by gneva? What's the din by mismach gneva? Is he gaining anything? Therefore his carbon is very good. The din by a shoyel by gneva is what's the din by mismach gneva? Is he gaining anything? Therefore his carbon is beautiful. Third case says Rabbi Yirmi, the din would be that the soicher needs to bring a chatos and the shoyel needs to bring a hashem. How is this? What happened? Mesa Kedarka died naturally. Died naturally. What did they claim? Mesa Machmas Malacha. Died naturally. What is the din of Mesa Kedarka? Potter. What is it in by Mesa Machmas Malacha? Potter. Did he gain anything? No. What's his carbon? Beautiful. Mesa Kedarka by Hashem. Mesa Kedarka is Chaya. Mesa Machmas Malacha is Potter. Did he gain anything? Yeah. Very good. Therefore, his carbon is beautiful. Fourth case, you guys are doing amazing. Fourth case. Fourth case says Rabbi Yirmi, the din is going to be that the soicher is going to bring an Hashem and the shayla is going to bring a chatos. What happened? Gneva was stolen. What did they claim happened? Mesa Kedarka. Okay. Now, what's the din? What's the din about a soicher? If a gneva happened by a soicher, what's the din? Hi, what's the din of Mesa Kedarka? Potter. Did he gain anything? Yes. What about a shoyel? What's the din of a shoyel by a gneva? Hi, what's the din by Mesa Kedarka? Hi, did he gain anything? No. His carbon is going to be beautiful. Now, if you want to do Chazara, you can print out one of these papers. I'll post in the link below in the description. And you can fill this out. So you try to memorize. You could do either you could do step 2 of Chazara, where it says the cases. And you just write down what's the din and what carbon they need to bring. Or you can even do a step further and you can memorize what are the cases. What happened and what did they say happened. Write them all down. Look inside your Gemara, figure it out, and memorize. And this will help you a lot to remember the 4 different cases and their din. That's the first 2 steps. That's the first 2 shiurim of our sugya. But now the Gemara challenges with a question. One second. Let's make a pause and let's learn bifnim. Okay? Let's learn bifnim. So we'll take a break. Go bifnim. Take a break. We'll continue on the slideshow. And then we'll go back. Look inside the Gemara. Like I always say, even if you're watching this later, open up a Gemara and read it quietly, bifnim, together. Hold on a second. So I pull up my cover. Okay. I'm gonna be Yirmi. Follow along verbally, so you're using up more of your body for Torah. Kind of goes into your brain deeper. Rabbi Yirmi. Rabbi Yirmi said, just actually 2 days ago, there was a Talmud who came over to me with a stark shaila. He thought of it for a long time. Then when he came up to me and verbalized the question, he started laughing. Why? And I started laughing with him because it was very clear what happened. As he verbalized it, he realized his own answer. When we verbalize things, a lot of times it becomes much clearer to us. So it's very, very important to actually read, to learn Torah b'dibur verbally, because it makes a big difference. All right, so let's look inside. Let's follow quietly by ourselves. Rabbi Yirmi said, "פעמים, there are times ששניהם בחטאת, that both of them, the soicher and the shoyel, need to bring a chatos." One second. How do I know both of them? How do I know who both of them are? Let's jump into Rashi. Last Rashi on the page. פעמים ששניהם בחטאת. Sometimes both of them need to bring a chatos. Amasnis in koy. This whole case, this whole sugya of Rabbi Yirmi is going back on the Mishnah. It's going on the Mishnah. HaSoicher v'HaShoyel, the Soicher and the Shoyel from our Mishnah. Nishbu l'shaker. They swore falsely. V'lo yikol for a moment, and they did not deny any money. V'hareihem b'shvuas bitui, and they are doing a shvuas bitui, utterance, oath of utterance, meaning they're not accomplishing anything, they're just talking. The carbon shaloi chatos, and the carbon of a shvuas bitui is a carbon chatos. K'dechsiv, as it says, the Vayikra and Sefer Vayikra, oy nefesh ki sishava v'geimer, the soul will swear and won't gain anything, will be chayav a carbon chatos. Next point. פעמים ששניהם באשם. There are times that both of them are going to have to bring a carbon asham. פעמים שהסויcher בחטאת והשel באשam. There are times that the soicher will bring a chatas and the shel will bring an asham. פעמים שהסוicher באשam והסוicher בחטאת. Sometimes the soicher will have to bring a chatas and the shel will have to bring an asham. Let's learn, before we continue to Hakeitzad, let's learn the Rashi. Shneim b'asham, the first Rashi on the page. Shneim b'asham. Sometimes they both may bring an asham. Zat Rashi. Why would they need to bring an asham? Im nishbul hashaker, if they swore falsely, and they were gaining money with their shvuah, they were making a profit with their shvuah. Lehakel, to make easier, to ease. Pir'oin, the paying back. Me'aleim from on them. They're trying to get away with paying back. Firas moment, this is denying money. You're denying to pay money. The carbon shvuah shalahem, and the carbon for their shvuah, the carbon for their false oath is asham, is an asham. What is an asham? Ayil, a ram, ben beis shanim, 2 years old. The chsiv, like it says in the pasuk, in Sefer Vayikra Parakei, the hevi as hashamayim, you should bring as asham, ayil, tamim, a complete ram, the erkacham, in your value, kesef shnei shkalim, of 2 silver shkalim, the who, and that is also known as, this asham is also known as asham zelois, the asham zelois, asham when you steal something outright. Over here, where you're denying money, you're stealing, you're trying to get away with money, you're stealing outright, and that for that you bring a carbon asham. Let's go back inside the Gemara. Hakeitzad. How is this? How so? What are the cases that all these dinim would apply to? So now, before we actually say the cases, let's give you the ideas mukdamis, says the Gemara. Firas mamain, if you deny money, which we learned all the way back in the ideas mukdamis. Firas mamain, denying money, but asham, you need to bring a carbon asham. Bituis vasayim, just the utterance of the lips, which is a lie, and you don't gain anything. Chatas, you bring a chatas. Now let's go through each one of the cases. The first din was, now over here the Gemara explained, the Gemara says first the din, and then the case. How do we get to that din? Okay, so the din is, there are times that both of them need to bring a chatas. What's the case? You're going, for example, now starts the case, Shenesa Kedarka died naturally, the Amru Nansa, they said it had an oinus. Now, the bank, either way, this way or that way, Miftar Potter, he would be Potter, Bechatos, he needs to bring a Chatos because not getting away with anything. He's going from being Potter to being Potter, he's not getting away, he needs to bring a Chatos. Shoyol, a borrower, the bank, that both, either way, you would have been Chayev, it's a double Lashon. He would have been Chayev, Bechatos. He needs to bring a carbon Chatos. So that's how we come to a din where they both need to bring a chatas. There are times that both of them need to bring a carbon asham. How is that? Going, for example, Shenikava was stolen. The Amru, and they said, it died because of work. The Tarvayu. Tarvayu means both of them. Did Tarvayu because both of them. I ask you on the test, what is the type of tarvayu? The type of tarvayu is both of them. If I ask you, did tarvayu? It's because both of them. It's important to pay attention to the prefix and the suffix of the words. The tarvayu, that both of them, kakapri mamain, are doch, denying money. They're both trying to become potter. They're both trying to get away with it. The amichaydi, they were chayv because they were chayv. The kapotri nafshayu, and they're making themselves potter. Therefore, the din would be that they both need to bring an asham. Next case. Now, in general, a small tip, a small hack. You want to remember what they said and what they claimed in each one of the 4 cases. You probably already did this. Make a small number in the Gemara, or make a small little sign, a little dot, where the beginning of each case is. Or just look for the word kigoyin, for example, which there you know that's the beginning of the case. And then you can see what happened. And the Amru, and what they said, happened. It's very easy to find. If I ask you on the test, what did they say happened, and what happened, and what did they say happened in the 3rd case? You say, how am I supposed to remember? Well, it is taka hard to remember, but it is easy to look inside and find. Okay? So if we make these signs in our Gemara, where each case starts, or look for the word kigoyin, we know where each case starts, and we see right away what happened. And we see va'amru and what they said. Okay. Small hack. Okay, moving on to the 3rd case. 3rd din is soicher bechatos. Soicher bechatos. The soicher brings a chatos, the shoyel bashman, the shoyel needs to bring asham. Kigoyin, for example, shemeser kedarka died naturally. The amru and they said based on akpas balacha died because of work. Soicher, the soicher, the benkach, miktar potter. Either way, he would have been potter. Chai bechatos, he needs to bring up carbon chatos. Shoyel, a shoyel, the mechai b'meisa kedarka. It's chai b'meisa kedarka. The kapater nafshein is making himself potter. The meisa machmas malacha with meisa machmas malacha. The asham, he needs to bring an asham. Finally, last day. Shoy soicher b'asham. The renter needs to bring asham. The shoyel b'chatas, and the borrower needs to bring a chatas. What is the case? Kigoyin, for example, shenignavo was stolen. The amru and they said meisa kedarka died naturally. So now. Soicher, the soicher, who the Michai b'gnei b'avaveda, since he is chai by gnei b'avaveda, v'kapotar nafshei, and he's making himself potter, the Mesa Kedarka would say, Mesa Kedarka, the Asham needs to bring a carbon Asham. Shoyol, the Shoyol, the Benkach, Chiyuv v'Mechayev, that anyway, it would have been Chayev, the Chatos, he needs to bring a Chatos. Okay, so now we just said, we gave the din. We said Kigoyin, for example, we said the case, and then we explained the reason why, in this case, the din would be there. So in this Gemara, instead of a case, din, reason, it would come out to be din, case, reason. Okay? Let's go back and continue in this lesson. Here we go. This whole din of Rabbi Yirmiyah that we learned. Like sometimes Chata, sometimes Asham, sometimes this is what happened, this is what they said. This whole din. Frag the Gemara. My Kamash Mulan. What is he coming to teach us? Rosh Tev of Kamash Mulan is Kufman Mulan, that's how it comes in the Gemara. What Kamash Mulan is he coming to teach us? And Rashi explains that the Gemara is asking, what is this Chiddush? We already learned all this in Masechah Shavuos. Masechah Shavuos, it says clearly in the Mishnah that if someone goes from being chayiv to being chayiv, or from potter to potter, or from being potter to being chayiv, meaning he didn't gain anything, he lies, but he didn't gain anything, he needs to bring a carbon chatos. And if someone goes from being chayiv to being potter, meaning he's trying to get away with it, he brings a asham. It's a clear Mishnah of Masechah Shavuos. So what is Rabbi Yirmiyah? You need to come to teach us in all this whole long case. Yes, Rav.
How come every time the Rabbanim have a question, Masechah Shavuos always comes up?
Because we're our Sugיא is talking about oaths, right? And where does it speak about oaths primarily? So and for the Gemara, the reason why Rabbi Yirmiyah says this whole long din is lafuki min Rabbi Yami, to take away, to reject, to disprove Rabbi Yami. Why? What does Rabbi Yami say? Rabbi Yami says there's a pasuk in Sefer Vayikra. We learned it in the first Rashi, actually looking at back. Nefesh kisi shava, a soul that will swear levati bisvasayim, to utter with its lips, to express with its lips, meaning that the person who makes this shvua doesn't gain anything out of it. Their carbon, they need to bring a carbon chatos. What does Rabbi Ami learn out of this pasuk? When it says nefesh kisi shava, a soul who will swear. When the pasuk says nefesh kisi shava, a soul who will swear, he says, you know what that means? only when you swear me'atzmoi. Swears shvuas bitui by himself, chayiv chatos. But if Beis Din makes you make a shvuah and you end up doing a shvuas bitui, you do not bring a carbon chatos. So again, Rabbi Yirmiyah learns out from the pasuk nefesh kisi shava that only if someone by himself swears and he makes a shvuas bitui, then he brings the carbon chatos. If Beis Din makes him make a shvuah, he doesn't bring a carbon chatos. What does Rabbi Yirmiyah hold? Rabbi Yirmiyah holds no. Me'atzmai, if you make a shvuas bitui from yourself, you bring a carbon chatos. If Beis Din makes you make a shvuah and you make a shvuas bitui, you also bring a carbon chatos. Like in this case. This case is talking about our whole Mishnah. It's based on our Mishnah. Remember, we learned in the beginning the first Rashi, right? Sheshnihem chatos. Right? What did the first word? What did the Rashi say? This is talking about our Mishnah. In our Mishnah, Rabbi San, in our Mishnah, who's making the shvuah? Are they making it by themselves, or did Beis Din make them make a shvuah? Beis Din, thank you. Beis Din is making them make the shvuah. So we see that the Yirmiyah is coming clearly and commenting on our Mishnah and saying, in our Mishnah, where Beis Din is making them make a shvuah, he still needs to bring a carbon chatos if it's a shvuas bitui. Okay. And take a moment, look at the end of Rashi over here. Where does Rabbi Yirmiyah learn his din out from? From the same pasuk, from Nefesh Kisi Shava. Rabbi Yirmiyah learns out that Nefesh Kisi Shava means only if he swears by himself. Rabbi Yirmiyah says no, it just means a person that will swear. Even if Beis Din makes him swear, he's still a person swearing. And the Gemara concludes, yes, Kamash Malon, valid, comes to teach us. It's not like Rabbi Yami, the halacha is not like Rabbi Yami, that if Beis Din makes you make a shvuah, and you make a shvuas bitui, the halacha is not like Rabbi Yami, and you do need to bring a carbon chatos. Yes, Isaac.
You told me before that you might check up the answer to the question I have before.
No. Let's learn the Gemara with him. And I forgot to do the Rashis, so we're going to go back and do the Rashis. Okay? Let's start with the Rashi's Nansa. It's the fourth line of Rashi's. Nansa. Sorry, I said we're going to do the Gemara and then we're going to do the Rashi. So let's do the Gemara first. My Kamashma. Middle of the page. Or close, sorry. Third way down. My Kamashma. Forget the Gemara. My Kamashma. What's he coming to teach us? And as Rashi explains, it's already a Mishnah and Masech Shvuos. It's a clear Mishnah. What's his Chiddush? And for the Gemara, La Fukim mid Rabbi Yirmiyah, mid Rabbi Ami, to take away from Rabbi Ami. The Omar who says, Kol Shvuah, every oath, Shad Ayani Mashbin, I saw that the judges force it upon you, they make you take the oath. In Chayav in Allah, you are not Chayav on it, Mishum Shvuas Bitui, because of the Shvuas Bitui, if you make a Shvuas Bitui. Shenemar, as it says in the Pasuk, Oy nefesh kisi shava, or a soul that will swear levate bisvasayim to utter with its lips, and the pasuk concludes that it needs to bring a carbon chatos. And now Rabbi Ami, that's the quote of the pasuk. Oy nefesh kisi shava levate bisvasayim. That's the pasuk. And now Rabbi Ami repeats two words of the pasuk and makes a deal and learns out of it. Kisi shava. What does it mean? Kisi shava. That will swear me'atzma from itself. If a person makes a shvuah on his own accord, he decides by himself. I woke up this morning and I decided I make a shvuah that it's Sunday, even though it's Tuesday. I make a shvuah that it's Chav Chesed, it's Chav Kislev today. So I decided by myself that I want to make a shvuah shvuas bitui. Then I need to bring a carbon chatos, says Rabbi Ami. Kisi Shavina will swear me'atzma from himself. So and the Gemara concludes. Kamash Malon comes to teach us, like Rabbi Yami, not like Rabbi Yami. Now let's go back and do the Rashi. Nansa. Yeah, sorry, what questions? Yeah.
What's the point of making a shvuas bitui?
Good question. I'm not sure. Well, really there isn't. You're not gaining anything. So.
What is the reason?
But if someone does it, he swears.
Why would someone do it?
Good question. Does there no wacky move ever happen? You know anyone that ever happens to them that they're in a wacky move?
So I'm not gonna swear that's something that doesn't make any sense.
Okay, so it's never happened to any of us that we never have such a wacky move that we're ready to swear about something that we don't even gain out of. We should never swear that we gain out of anything either. Should be righteous and honest people. Happens if someone does it. Then you never even come across it. Hey, Rashi did Ramaskel Nansa. Fourth line of Rashi. Nansa. It was they listed him through bandits. The Nishbu Shekach, and they swore. The Soicher and the Shoyl swore that that's what happened. But now, Rashi. 1 second. If the Shoyl pays, why doesn't he have to swear? The Soicher is Potter, so he needs to swear like we learned in the Mishnah. Why does the Shoyl need to swear? He's chayav. He's paying. Even though even though even though the shoyl pays for oines, we may still make him take a shvua. Kid Rav Huna, according to Rav Huna, shvua sheni b'rishusik. Oh, that's not in his possession. The chayshinon, because we suspect shema nasaneinava. Maybe he put his eyes on it. Maybe he wants to keep it for himself. So since he's making already a shvua that he doesn't have it, part of his shvua. He elaborates a little bit too much, and he says it's not in my possession. He swears shenansa it's not in my possession, and it was an oinus. So he ended up swearing that was an oinus, even though he didn't gain anything out of it. So that's why he needs to make a shua. He made it a shua according to Rav Huna. That's not in his possession. Part of that shua, he also said it was an oinus. Next Rashi. Soicher de benkach u benkach lifter. Soicher anyway would be potter in the first case. Mitashlumin from paying. Koi b'chatos. He stands in a chatos, meaning he gets a chatos. He needs to bring a common chatos. Benkach u benkach. Either way. Ben shenish ba'be'emes. Both if he swears truthfully, shemesa kedarka that died naturally. Ben shenish ba'lasheker. Both if he swears falsely, and so that was oines. This is about the first case where he doesn't gain anything. Potter atzmei milashal. Sorry, this is about the shoyl. Sorry, my bad. No, this is the first case. First case, the soicher. Either way, he would have been potter. Potter atzmei milashal. He would have been potter from paying. He'll go, therefore. Ein b'sheker zek first moment. There's no denying money in this shvua. It's a useless shvua. You're not gaining anything in it. The im hoida al emes. Even if he would have admitted to the truth. Haya potter shvuas bitui. Haya potter, you would have been potter. And shvuas bitui, and it's a shvuas bitui. It's utterance of lips. Now you're not getting anything. Ubechatos, I need to bring a karma chatos. Shoyl, a borrower, the benkach chayav l'sham. Anyway, he's chayav to pay. Zok Rashi. Nimza, so it comes out. Shaloi kafar mamin. They did not deny any money. B'shikor shvuasei in the line of his oath. Ushvuas bitui, and the oath. And a shvuas bitui, an oath that you don't get anything, koi b'chatas, even though he's chayiv the first time, and he's chayiv if he would admit the truth. And he's chayiv in his lie, he's chayiv and chayiv, he's not gaining anything, so he's not denying any money, and therefore he's chayiv b'chatas. Next Rashi, Kigoyin Shanik, for example, was stolen. Zok Rashi, V'ha-soicher, and the soicher chayiv l'shalom nabolim, he's responsible to pay the owners. V'ha-shoyel yishalom ha-soicher, and the shoyel should pay the soicher. So if they will both be chayiv, the shoyel will pay the soicher, the soicher will pay to the Palanites. That's the way it will work. That's the way how it will work. Next case, V'omer Meis Machmas Malacha, and they said it was Meis Machmas Malacha. Upoter shoyel atzmai, and the shoyel made himself poter, the sheker with a lie, milashalem hasoicher, from to pay the soicher. The hasoicher milashalem labolim, and the soicher is lying and making himself poter to pay the owners. Shemesa kedarka, that died naturally. This is the fourth case. V'im hoidu ala emes, if they would swear, if they would admit the truth. Soicher potter, the soicher would have been potter. The shoyel chayav, sorry, this is the third case, and the shoyel would have been chayav. Therefore, since the Seicher is not gaining anything in the third case, he's bringing a Chatas. And the Shoyl, since the Shoyl is gaining something, he needs to bring an Asha. Shenigneva, that it was stolen. This is the fourth case. Ushneim Chayavim, and they're both Chayav to pay. The Amr Mesa Kedarka, and they said Mesa Kedarka. HaSeicher Poiter Atzmoi. The Seicher is making himself Potter, B'Sheker, with a lie. Avla Shoyl, but the Shoyl, Loi Niftar B'Kach, Milasham, does not become Potter from this, from paying. So for the Shoyl, it doesn't help him anything. He's not gaining out of this, and therefore he's going to bring the Chatas. Chiyuvim Yechayev, L'Shalim, he's Chayev to pay. Koyal Shvuasai, he stands on his Shvua, meaning he needs to pay, he's obligated because of his Shvua, Chatas, B'Chatas, Nechatas. Next part of the Gemara's Kasha, Ma'ika Mashmon. Ma'ika Mashmon, Rabbi Yirmiyah. What does Rabbi Yirmiyah come to teach us? Mishnayos Shleimei say Mishvuas. These are complete Mishnayos, clear Mishnayos in Masechah Shvuas that say Hamishana, someone who changes. Remember, it's not Hamishna. Hamishana, one who changes. From being chayiv to being chayiv, from being potter to potter, from being potter to being potter, from being potter to being chayiv. So you're not gaining anything. Potter mi Hashem zelis. He is exempt from Asha, from Hashem zelis. If you're going from being chayiv to being potter, you're getting away with something. Then chayiv, you are chayiv. And with that, we conclude all the Rashis in our Sugya. Just want to finish off since today is Chav Kislev. Shana Tova, B'limud Chassidus, U'B'darkei Chassidus. Shall have a good year and a successful year, learning Chassidus, being a Chassid, acting like a Chassid. And I have a very, very important message from all of my subscribers.
Subscribe.